policies that the voters elected him on.
So obviously, it's a huge win in terms of the legal victory here. But there's also a lot of politics at play. And I think it's kind of interesting that you have Democrats who are very concerned about sort of where this goes from here. Listen to what your colleague Dick Durbin had to say about this.
The court has created a situation which we will not be able to easily unscramble. They played right into the hands of Donald Trump. He said he was going to flood the zone. He told us he would overwhelm the system with executive orders and changes. That's exactly what he was empowered to do by the Supreme Court decision.
The courts really did play right into Trump's hands, and he won.
What the Supreme Court did is unleash a bunker buster on judicial tyranny. I mean, the first 2 months of the Trump administration, more universal injunctions were issued than the entire 4 years under Biden. And by the way, this has always been a bipartisan issue. There was never a universal injunction until 1963. They have skyrocketed since then. And even the Supreme Court said it's gotten so bad, we have to address this issue. Remember, Sotomayor even said this is a problem. This is really going to drag out the ability of an administration to do anything. And so, you know, they can say all they want on the other side of the aisle. They know this is a problem. That's why in judiciary, many of us have introduced legislation to codify the court's ruling today and even go further and make sure we're protecting that separation of powers. But make no mistake, this is a win for America. It is a win for this country. And it will go on to make sure that we can continue to exist as the strong, successful, prosperous nation living under a rule of law as we have for almost 250 years.
So I was kind of struck by...
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so crazy?
We will make America proud again. If you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Yeah, buddy, they say the Supreme Court dropped them bunker busters. Yeah. And them Democrats are boo-booing all on themselves. This is good. I'm ready for another huge week of wins. Oh, and we do have the big, beautiful bill coming up in 4th of July. Shout out to the family. Where y'all at? Don't blow your backyard up. I know y'all don't have that insurance policy that cover all the square footage. Don't blow it up, family. Do not blow it up now. Oh, boy.
The Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law in striking down the excessive use of nationwide injunctions to interfere with the normal functioning of the executive branch.
Oh, activist judges better think twice now before trying to derail the will of the people with nationwide injunctions. Justice Clarence Thomas is sick of it, writing, quote, lower courts should carefully heed the court's guidance. If they cannot do so, this court will continue to be duty-bound to intervene.
And he's not the only one. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, writing the majority opinion, firing back at Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who claimed this ruling is a, quote, existential threat to the rule of law. Quote, we will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself.
Ouch. Well, in short, the Supreme Court has given Trump the green light he needed to...
Oh, boy. They saying, Amy, she trying to earn back her stripes. She trying to get her respect back. They were just calling her a backstabber a couple weeks, not long ago, a traitor. And now she trying to get her respect back, trying to get her stripes back. What y'all think, family? Let me know. Let me know now. But Justice Jackson, what a disgrace. DEI, didn't earn it. I'll tell you, man. These people think that these judges and federal district judges think they outrank the president, man. I'll tell you. I tell you, man, I'm glad it's been win after win after win, because we've seen how corrupt it has been. You know, the people spoke loud and clear. Loud and clear. What was the point of a presidential election? A landslide mandate. Every single swing state, majority of America, whether you like it or not, love or hate the man, he told you what he was gonna do. We seen how bad this country is, how bad it's been. We seen the complete mess you left the man. And like any other politician, he got up there and told you what he was gonna do, and is literally doing it. Look at look at everything that's happening. Look at every single breaking news that's taking place. Everything he said, it's happening. When you can look at the tariffs, you can look at this. You can look at the record high markets. Look, the jobs coming in, the investments coming in. He told you. And he called out the auto pen scandal. And he said that there's something up. He says, I know Biden isn't for this. I know Biden isn't for open borders. There's something bigger going on. I think that the machine's plugged into the wall. I think Barry's calling shots. That person's calling shots. Somebody ought to be walked out in handcuffs. And Democrats ran it into the ground, and they got caught. And now we got to clean up this mess. Yeah. So we finna be dropping these bunker buses all year long. Yeah, blow it up. We'll get a tweet at 11 o'clock at night. I'm ready for it. Trump, I'm ready for the next tweet at 11 o'clock. You know, wake them patriots up. Get out the bed.
Execute the agenda Americans voted for in November.
This was a colossal abuse of power which never occurred in American history prior to recent decades. And we've been hit with more nationwide injunctions than were issued in the entire 20th century together. We can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore.
Joining us now is 1792 Exchange CEO and former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Daniel, it's great to see you.
Great to see you, Tommy.
So, everyday Americans watching this today, first of all, a lot of folks thought, hey, we're going to get a ruling on birthright citizenship, and they were really excited about that one. Obviously, that's going to take a while. We're told October. But for everyday Americans who voted for Donald Trump, and they've seen these activist judges really delay their will and what they voted for, can you tell them, is this going to speed up the agenda a little bit? Is this just going to green light it? What do they have to now wait for to get the things that they voted for to come to fruition?
Well, guys, this is, as President Trump talked about, a great day for America. These were decisive victories for the Trump administration in support of his policies against rogue judges that were issuing these nationwide injunctions. And so what we have now is an environment where the policies that Americans voted on in November of last year, the president can start executing on those without worrying about judges in California or Massachusetts or in far left districts gumming up the process simply because they want to put politics over our Constitution and over the law. So again, this is an exciting day. And you mentioned, Justice Thomas was mentioned earlier, you know, his birthday was earlier this week. And rather than us giving him a present, he gave the American people a present with some of his writing here. And obviously Justice Barrett, man, you talk about a smackdown. That was a judicial smackdown that we saw in her legal opinion and legal writings here as it relates to other justices on the court. So today's a great day for Americans who voted for a president that was going to fight tooth and nail for them and make sure to keep our country safe and focus on making this country the best it can be for American citizens.
Just to add before we move on to what Justice Barrett wrote, Justice Jackson would do well to heed her own admonition. Everyone from the president on down is bound by the law. Ibid, that goes for justices too. Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary. But I want to move. I want to move on to the Supreme Court ruling in favor of the Maryland parents in a challenge to these mandatory. It was mandatory LGBTQ reading curriculum. All of these parents, and these were Muslim, Catholic, and Orthodox parents, they wanted to opt out, and Montgomery County would not allow them. And this Supreme Court decision is a victory for religious freedom and parental rights. And if you go into what some of these books were that were mandatory reading for, say, fifth graders, they had to learn what non-binary meant. Other children were required to learn that doctors only, quote, guess when determining a newborn's sex.
Dagan, not only was this a big day for President Trump, but this was a big day for millions of American parents who simply don't want their kids to go to school and then be contradicted in terms of what they are learning at home. And when it comes to religious liberty, I mean, the parents in Maryland got a overwhelming victory. There's a lot of, parents that want to teach traditional and Christian values, and to have Montgomery County try to undo that at school, frankly, with issues that parents should be discussing with their children as opposed to a government educational system. This is, again, a big deal, and glad to see it.
And the three liberal justices said this decision would cause chaos in the school system. Again, they're not about legal analysis, they're about social justice. Daniel Cameron, great.
I gotta walk them out in handcuffs. Walk them heifers out. Walk them liberals out. You liberals keep giving us conservatives win after win after win. Let me see what this says. See that? I want to see Pride Puppy. Born Ready. Love. Oh, man, I tell you. What a disgrace, man. What a disgrace. It's really gotten this bad in this country, man, And one man had to come along and, fight against everybody, Fight, and millions of people had to fight as well. Just to get common sense back in this country. I tell you, man. How disgraceful, out of touch, and woke. And then pushed all this crap onto everybody, man. People are not going for it, man. People are not going for it. Y'all have ruined a lot of things, the industries, everything. Even playing the video game, not even the same anymore. I remember back in the day playing the video game as a kid. Games don't hit the same. They got all this woke crap in everything. Doing this ain't the same. Yeah. The sky could be blue. These people literally want the sky to be, purple and green. No, the sky is supposed to be blue. The only time it's supposed to change colors is when, when there's a time change. And that's natural. That's nature. But these people want to change the color of the sky, man. I tell you. A disgrace. So I'm glad we took win after win after win. How do y'all feel, man? Let me know in the comment section. We are ready for another week of wins. We are on a roll. Even CNN and the fake news media admits that Trump is on a roll. And that was, last week was one of his best weeks of his presidency. But we have many more weeks to go. More rulings coming from the Supreme Court. And we're going to keep you updated on it. And again, Democrats are going to come out with the same script, same sound bites, same talking points. You know, Trump's this, Trump's that, destroying the country. And when everything's going good and well, this goes good, they are completely silent. They don't want to talk about the wins. They don't want to talk about anything that's going good for America. They don't want to talk about the jobs coming in, the investments coming in. They don't want to talk about the market. They don't want to talk when they're seeing prices come down, when they're seeing gas come down. They don't want to talk about none of it, you know. But yes, I think like night before last, Trump says interest rates need to be 1% to 2%. Trump said that, you know. That's what Trump said. He said interest rates need to be 1% and 2%. What do y'all think of that? You know, that's what President Trump wants, you know. But we're in this whole corrupt matrix scam, you know, and we got to fight tooth and nail, you know. I'm for a better way of life for everybody, man. Everybody that's tuned in today's show, you know. For these prices to come down, rates to come down, payments come down, everything come down. Everybody can put a smile on their face, man. Because it has gotten very crazy, and people are living paycheck to paycheck, man. You know. And people were sick of what, you know, the last 4 years. People were strung out, man. They seen how bad it's gotten. But we are rooting for the America First agenda and to turn this big ship around to go into the right direction, especially for the long term. And that's what President Trump's doing right now. So I love y'all. God bless you all and your family. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, you guys.